Emmanuelle would never have imagined that in just 1 week she would have to face two crucial events: divorce and dismissal. Subscribe and activate the bell to never miss any of our stories. Now let's dive into this extraordinary story. An old inherited property in a small town seemed like the starting point for a new chapter. However, not even she could have foreseen how it would all unfold this way. As the lawyer slid the documents in front of them, his words echoed in the silence. After this signature, you will be officially divorced. If all my clients were as civilized and thoughtful as you, my job would be much easier, he said, indicating the place where Emmanuelle and Nicolas would have to sign. In that impersonal environment, a story that had lasted 20 years was coming to an end. An embrace marked the farewell of the now separated couple. "I'll call you to arrange visits for our daughter," Nicolas murmured. "Okay," Emmanuelle replied, gathering her things and preparing to leave that place where destiny had traced its epilogue. Emmanuelle and Nicolas had shared not only a love story, but also a professional path. The decision to specialize in plastic surgery was a significant turning point. Emmanuelle had doubts, considering other areas such as traumatology or general medicine, but Nicolas convinced her of the financial potential of plastic surgery. Thus began years of dedication and mutual sacrifice, climbing the difficult steps towards recognition in their specialty. Over time, Nicolas' clinic flourished, and Emmanuelle joined the team, becoming one of the most sought-after doctors. However, she felt an inner calling to new horizons. "Nicolas, the clinic is already established. I think it's time to follow my true calling. I've been thinking about dedicating myself to the hospital's burns department," she said. "Emmanuelle, you need to think more ambitiously." "This is where the money is," he retorted, unable to understand the deep restlessness that drove his wife beyond the boundaries of mere financial prosperity. Motherhood awakened in her new anxieties and feelings of misalignment with previous priorities. Nicolas remained anchored to his incessant pursuit of success. Year after year, conflicts undermined their bond. Deep conversations were replaced by uncomfortable silences, hugs by formal gestures of courtesy. There was no hatred or resentment between them, only a silent emptiness. And so, the inevitable epilogue came for that couple, marking the end of a story that had once been marked by shared promises and dreams. However, in the aftermath of the separation, something was about to change for Emmanuelle. Entering the clinic the next morning, she was surprised by the news that her patients had been cancelled and that she had to go to Nicolas' office. "Good morning, Emmanuelle," her ex-husband greeted her with a pained expression. "I spoke with the other partners at the clinic, and they informed me that many of your patients are forgoing surgery. What's going on?" he asked, trying to comprehend the situation. "Nicolas, I have noticed that many of the patients who come to us seek unnecessary procedures, motivated by personal insecurities or influenced by celebrities. I have advised some to think more carefully and have even refused to perform certain procedures that I consider unnecessary. You know that this is not how I work here," she replied. "I want to make it clear that this has nothing to do with our relationship. I just need to give an answer to my partners. So starting today, you no longer work here," Nicolas stated in a firm but uncomfortable tone. Curiously, Emmanuelle left that room with a feeling of lightness in her heart. It was as if a weight had been lifted from her shoulders. Lately immersed in a frenetic routine of professional commitments, she had had little time to deal with a pending personal matter. The death of a distant uncle a few months before had made her the sole heir of an old property located in a small provincial town. Even though it was only an hour away, he had never found the time to resolve this bureaucracy. He decided to take a little trip with his daughter Sophia to finally resolve this pending issue. When she finally arrived in the small town, as she walked through the streets, she couldn't help but notice the charm of that place that seemed to have come out of a scene from another time. The cobblestone streets, the houses adorned with flowered awnings. Arriving in front of the address of the property that had been left to her as an inheritance, Emmanuelle was confused. The property was not empty or abandoned. On the contrary, there was a great commotion with many people coming and going. She discovered that the old property was about to become the starting point of a new life for her. Her trip to that city ended up being extended for a few days. A week had already passed when she decided to call her ex-husband Nicola with news that would leave him confused. "Nicola, I have to tell you that I have decided to move to the small town where the property I inherited is located. I hope we can come to an agreement regarding visits from our daughter Sophia," she said. "Emmanuelle, that's okay. I can go on this little trip, but I'm worried about you. I hope our divorce and your dismissal didn't lead you to make any rash decisions," Nicola said with concern. "You can rest assured, Nicola. I've never been so sure about a decision like this," Emmanuelle replied before hanging up the call, leaving his ex-husband confused. When the weekend came, Nicola headed to the small town to visit his daughter. He was curious to know what had prompted his ex-wife Emmanuelle to move so spontaneously. Has she fallen in love with someone? I can't believe she's already found someone else in such a short time, Nicola thought, letting nagging thoughts invade his mind as the car drove along the winding roads. He wondered what he would find when he arrived. Arriving at the address Emmanuelle had given him, Nicola thought there had been a mistake. "It's not possible that Emmanuelle gave me the wrong address," he said with a sigh. He tried to call his ex-wife's cell phone, but she didn't answer. With no other options, he decided to ask at that address if anyone knew the woman who had just moved to the city. "Oh, are you looking for Dr. Emmanuelle? Of course we know where she is. She's seeing patients right in that office over there," said a woman he asked for directions. Nicola was shocked to find out that she had not only moved to that city, but was also working there as a doctor. When Nicola finally met Emmanuelle, he noticed that there was something different, a light in the doctor's eyes that he hadn't seen in many years. "Hi, Nicola. Did you find the address? Sophia is playing right there in the courtyard with the other children," Emmanuelle said with a smile. "Emmanuelle, what kind of place is this? Is this the property you inherited from your uncle? Why are there so many people here?" asked Nicola, still trying to understand the turn of events in his ex-wife's life. "When I came here, I thought I was just going to have to resolve some bureaucratic issues about bequeathing an old property, but what I found was this place full of life. My uncle had given the property to the community. Here there are activities for children, classes for the elderly. It is a meeting point for the community. They were already looking for a doctor who would agree to work here for small procedures, but since the salary was low, they couldn't find anyone. And that's where I come in. I immediately fell in love with everything that was happening here. Legally, I would have had the right to this property, but I decided to donate it to the city so that everything would remain as it was. Also, now I am the new doctor of the community, she explained. Nicola, when I said that I felt there was a lack of purpose in the work I was doing and that I wanted to be somewhere where I could really add something, that's what I was talking about, Emmanuel said, with an infectious smile. Nicola felt a mixture of admiration and pride in witnessing his ex-wife's determination and kindness. On subsequent weekends, whenever Nicola went into town to visit her daughter, she also spent time at the community center. Over time, she began to help out with activities. Little by little, she began to share Emmanuel's enthusiasm. They began to have long conversations again, and now they had a feeling in common. The distance that had led to their divorce was decreasing every weekend as they worked together for the good of the community. They rediscovered their love and admiration for each other. Weekends in the once foreign town became treasured moments of togetherness, laughter, and new discoveries. The family rebuilt itself.